What's up guys, Matt
and Ian
from the Full Boots team, and today we are going to be looking at CR7's and Nike's brand new release.
That's right, so we're looking at the Chapter 5s for Ronaldo, and these are like the 13th like specifically made for Ronaldo boots that have been done, but these are Chapter 5 in a series of 7 that Nike have been bringing out, and we're going to look at the whole pack today. We're going to look at all the different releases they have, and we'll also look back at a few of the old ones that came out, just so you guys can remember, if you can remember the names of all of them. These are called
the Cut to Brilliance, so it's almost like cutting like a diamond, you know, so it's an unbelievable product, and they have now cut because this is from his move from Manchester to Madrid.
Yeah, so they're going to make him a Galactico. It's the time when he was becoming a Galactico, and here's Ronaldo. You can see in the white of Real Madrid. Matt's got this season's top on. Obviously, with Adidas making the Real Madrid shirts, you're not going to see any of that on what he's wearing, but it's just a bright white shirt that he's got on as part of this marketing campaign, and you can see he's got the boots on there. But we'll move on and tell you that they seem to have a bit of a theme about talking about kind of diamonds and all this cutting and forge for greatness, and it all just seems to tie in together, doesn't it? It's a bit of a thing that they've got going on. So with this is the bag that comes with these boots. Before we do show you the boots, let's go back a step and talk about the previous ones. So the first ones.
The first chapter was the Savage Beauties, and as you can see, it's got those flame kind of graphics on there. Very bold start this was, but then we followed up with chapter 2, and as you said,
natural diamond. So those first ones had those kind of volcanic kind of Madeira touches, and these was kind of real nice blue, and it had kind of like a texture on the heel, which is just an interesting thing that we hadn't really seen on boots. And it's just for the sake of it. It was just nothing functional, just for the. And then chapter 3, Discovery
pack. Yes, so this was when he was at Sporting Lisbon, so those kind of similar colours there. So as we said, this is a chapter, it's a storyline, and that was chapter 3, but since then
I was going to say, interesting story on those. There was talk about there being a transform version of those that has been seen, where they actually colour changed, which is really interesting. They never came out to the public, but it's similar to some of the customs that we've done on the channel. If you guys haven't seen those already, check the channel out and look for those. But that's an interesting boot. We might even try and put a little video up showing people those. As I say, and aside, on to chapter 4.
So these were chapter 4, and the storyline behind this was when he actually moved to Man United from Sporting Lisbon, and it was about the forge for greatness. We can see that with that melted iron kind of design going on with the orange and the silver, all about creating the player that he is today.
That's right. Talking about today, we'll move on and we'll look at one of the lower end models in the pack. So these are going to boots that anybody can get, because you can get like Victories, Velos, Vapors and Superflies, as well as the indoors as well. We'll talk about in a minute. These are quite plain. The ones that we're going to get to, actually, that Ronaldo's going to wear are a lot more interesting. These ones are quite plain. It's almost like a white and black boot, just because it doesn't have those like extra details. This is now looking at the Vapors from the side, and you can just see a little bit more, but still not quite as stunning as the ones that we will see for Ronaldo himself. Another look at the Vapors from the other side, and you can see this kind of interesting CR7 graphic.
Well, interestingly, like we're looking at the Vapors now, and the idea behind this graphic was taking inspiration from the Nike Mercurial Vapor 6. So that's where it actually came from. We can just see that kind of jagged graphic going along the side, and that was actually taken from the Mercurial Vapor 6 onto now the Mercurial 11 and also the Superfly 5.
So here's a look at one of the cheaper sock versions, and we'll get on to seeing the full sock version in a minute, but it's quite cool that if you want like a kid's version or cheap version, you can get those. It absolutely has no like function to it at all. It's just so it looks the same. These ones are the Proximos, so that's the indoor versions. So you can get this whole pack. Here we're now looking at the back of the Superflies, and I'm going to show you the whole Superfly in a minute. And it has inside of the sock liner the same graphics as you'd see on the bag. But here we go. These are the Superflies. What do you think?
Well, I think the biggest thing that the Superflies have over all the other boots we've seen so far are the multicoloured effects into that Flyknit material itself, which I actually think looks quite nice. And Nike have said when it is struck by light, they do actually change colour ever so slightly. Yeah,
it's really nice. You can just see a little bit on this close-up of the colour, and we'll get onto that a little bit more in a second. One of the things that did disappoint me a little bit with these boots is the Soleplate. So the Soleplate is just plain white, which if you're going to wear it, is going to go like a like a yellowy green from like the pitch and stuff, which isn't going to look great. One of the boots you could compare these to because of the white base, obviously, is the Vittorias, and they have this lovely chrome sole plate. That's not around this time. These ones are much more like a white boot, but I think Ronaldo does like his white boots.
He obviously likes his white boots, one of his favourite colours to actually wear. I think if I had to have the option of going for the new ones or the Vittorias, I probably would go for the Vittorias still. Just a bit more of a subtle colourway, but obviously that golden sole plate does look very nice.
Really nice. So here's that rainbow effect that you were talking about. It's kind of into the speed ribs of it almost, isn't it? And the understanding is it has this iridescent kind of coating to the Nike skin, so when you move these around in the light, then you're going to see little bits of difference of this colour coming out, and they are going to look really sharp on feet. Here's the heel of them. Now, what's this logo on the back all about?
So we've got a little bit of a detail on the heel tab itself, and that was the transfer move date. So on the 6th of the 7th, 2009, that is when Ronaldo actually went from Manchester United to Real Madrid. So it's just a nice touch you put onto the heel tab. You can't really see it that much, but I just think as a nice little extra touch, Nike have done quite well.
I mean, that's the thing. It's nice to have those little extras, and so that's the start of his Real Madrid career. Here we're now looking at the side profile of the Superflies, and they look quite nice here as well. We'll move through, and there's a lot more colour that you can see popping out on this side, and I think that's the extra. This is the difference you're getting from like the Veloce or the Victories and those cheap versions. Really nice, but you want to see them on the feet of the man himself, so we'll move on and we'll show you that. And here is Ronaldo putting them on. One thing to say is he probably will never wear these in a game.
No, well, he's not going to wear those ones because they have the normal dynamic fit collar, so the ones that he wouldn't actually wear. He is advertising them now, but we all know he's going to wear his shorts and collar version.
Yeah, it's a shame that everybody can't get them. But you can see that they look pretty nice going onto feet there. That pretty much wraps up the video. So guys, which is your favourite chapter out of all these? We'll try and put up a poll, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which do you prefer, Superfly wise, with Ronaldo? Let us know in the comments below what you think of these. Matt, what do you think of them?
I really like them. I think it's one of my favourite chapters released so far. For me, I would either go for the new chapter 5 or the chapter 2s, but as I said, I think this is a great release.
Yeah, I think it is a great release. Thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, enjoy your football.